Holy moly, there's a lot to unpack with these round three team lists, and it does make sense with the coaches, given that they've had a couple of weeks now to see what their team has thrown up and then make some changes around that. And thank goodness we have weekly trades. I know a lot of us will wish that we had a lot more, but two it is for now, and we will make do with what we've got. Just remember, guys, if someone is out of their respective side, and that means out of your side as well, you could use them as a loop. So that is some silver lining in that as well. So let's kick it off with the first game of the week, and that is the Panthers and the Broncos, guys. And firstly, what we do see here is that Payne Haas has been named. So good news on that front. Coach did say that he would be named, but is in a decent amount of doubt heading into this round. So given it's the first game of the week, hopefully we'll either know in the 24-hour update. Just remember, guys, with that one, on Wednesday at 8 p.m, given this game is Thursday, 8 p.m, you will get two people culled from the team list. And, it's sometimes a very helpful thing to note, especially if you're wondering if, a guy coming back from injury who's in the reserves list, sometimes happens. If they get taken off, then they're definitely out, right? So maybe if Payne Haas has been rubbed out of this game, that he could be out of that team list update, or we're waiting until an hour before with the final team list, and then you can decide what you're doing with that one there. But obviously, and hopefully, he is named and actually starts for this round three clash, because I know with a lot of people out in these team lists, which we'll go through in a sec, he's going to be very, very important for this side, and your side especially. So this is going to be a very big game as well. But I know for Payne Haas' sake and his body's sake, that do you want him to rush back if he's not completely well? We've seen him play through a multitude of sort of niggly injuries, AC joints, other issues along the way, and you don't want him to be carrying that for a lot of this season. So that's where the doubt for him coming back into this game is there for sure. If you're looking at the rest of the side, guys, nothing else really changes. Reece Walsh is obviously going to have to do a lot in here. And when I say not much else changes, it's exactly what we thought it was going to be, with Reynolds being out, Jock Madden coming in and covering for potentially 1 week, could be a little bit more, but at this stage, just the 1 week for Adam Reynolds with his knee aggravation injury. So yeah, it doesn't sound too bad, thank goodness for Reynolds and the Broncos fans. But Walsh should be kicking goals in this one, and he'll do a little bit more kicking in general play. That left foot is obviously really important. For those that don't have Piakura, this is a decent week to get on. I do understand that next week could be the better week, considering his break-even should come down a little bit more after this week. And he should, if he scores anywhere near a 40, he'll make some money this week. But outside of that, it's not an absolute must, but most people do have him. On the Panthers side, guys, a few people are looking at Dylan Edwards, given he had a spectacular game, big run meters the other day. Isaac Tungo as well. Just be aware that week to week, they could go left 1 week, they could go right the next. As we saw, it was Taylor's game in round 1, it was Tungo's game in round 2, so it could move around again. So all of these guys are going to do well overall. Taruva and Tungo had the awesome game last week. It could be May and To'o this week. So I'm hoping that's the case anyway for Taylor, my boy. But yeah, the rest of the things that have changed, we have Fisher Harris out. Not sure if it'll be longer term, but he's out for at least this week. And that means Lindsay Smith comes into the starting side. I think Liam Henry still looks like he'll get somewhere around that sort of really close to 40 minutes, you'd imagine, given they've got Garner, who'll play some edge, potentially a little bit of middle as well, and then Eisenhuth for some middle. And Dane Laurie they've got in the 14 role. So I wonder if he'll actually get much of an opportunity, same as last week, to actually come out and do good things. But I imagine most of us will be captaining Cleary. With Reynolds out, that does hurt them a little bit. If Payne Haas is out as well, I think Cleary can dominate this one. And we know that he does like to come up against the Broncos. We've seen it, in Magic Round. He's had good games up there. At Suncorp, this is obviously at home, and he usually does pretty well at his home base as well. Sorensen, just watch him for a little bit, guys. I don't think that he's relevant as yet. Isaiah Yeo, obviously the 80-minute gun. If you have the money to get to him, awesome. But does have a bye in a few weeks' time, 3 weeks' time at that. And Mitch Kenny, some people will look at him, given he's a good chance of playing the full 80 minutes and has a little bit of value, but he also has games where he gets a few less minutes and sort of hits you a 30, which is hurtful as well. So that's that game there. Moving on to one of the more important team lists, and that was the Raiders up against the Wars there. And this one, well, we do lose Zach Hosking, so he moves to the interchange bench in number 16 with Elliot Whitehead coming back into the start. I'm not sure what the go is with the Horsburgh thing because he actually has served his time. Like, he had round 27, he had the finals game, and he's had round 1 and round 2. I'm not sure what the go is there unless, yeah. Anyway, it was 4 games suspension. They're the 4 games. But look, as a Morgan Smitty's owner, I'm happy that he's currently not there. But yeah, let me know if you know anything more about that. Like, everyone was saying that the casualty award thing was incorrect, the judiciary anyway, and apparently it was correct. So there you go. But Hosking moves back to the bench. So all we need to know about Hosking, guys, is the fact that I do think with that bench that they've thrown out with Salo there, Gula there, and then Starling and Hosking, Starling and Levi will split as they have been for a good while now, and Hosking I think will get some decent minutes either partly on the edge and then a little bit through the middle, or sort of Whitehead will play maybe 25 or 30 to kick off the game and then move into some middle and play sort of 40 odd to 50 minutes potentially. I don't see the need to play Whitehead big minutes in this one either, so I do think that Zach Hosking will play enough minutes to make you some more money this week. But if it is a 50 odd minute role and he's not getting the attacking stats, he will begin to start losing money eventually in the next couple of weeks. If he ends up playing sort of 50 odd minutes and gets attacking stats, then he'll still be able to score closer to the 40 odd to 50. I think it's just very, very, you just got to take the happiness side of this is the fact that he absolutely crushed it in the first 2 weeks. You got a good leg up on other people. And unfortunately now you're in this predicament. And we were worried that this was the case. And the hope was that he would be able to, keep that spot longer term. Unfortunately, looks like it's not to be. But I do still think he'll score enough points this week to make some money. But going forward is probably the worry. And again, do you play him as well, knowing that information? They are the second game of the round, so I do think that's very helpful in making your decisions as well, because he could move into the starting side on game day as well. With Smitty's, guys, I do think it'll be closer to the 60-minute role for Smitty's, but I do like the bench that they've thrown up here because it's Mariota changing with Hosking, and Hosking playing 80 minutes there. I don't think Whitehead will, so really it's probably a few less minutes, so that's where sort of the 60 is, and we know that if there's an injury, he could play the 80 as well. Levi, I'm not super excited about longer term, but he's someone you can hold. We got some information with the Roosters game, but Levi was someone I was looking to potentially move on and be able to get Lussick in. And at this stage, that still could be the play. But he's fine to keep there and hopefully just keep scoring tries, right? But Geordie Raps still in the fullback slot, which is good. Nick Cottrey comes back in for anyone to hold on. Good stuff. It will just be for the 1 week for Seb Chris, and then he should be back out the side. And Opawati will move back to the wing. But yeah, that's probably all we need to say on the Raiders there. Smithies with 60 minutes is still okay. Hopefully it's a bit of a closer game and he can get some good base out of that. So, the Waz. Taint Tuilagi, it does sound like an NRL physio came out and said so, that potentially he's got another week or two. So round 3, round 4 maybe. And then Chance might be coming back. So you get another couple of price rises out of him. Very likely. We don't see Chance on the extended. So great news for Taint Tuilagi owners. Thank goodness you don't have to deal with that one. This week, I don't own. I haven't got him in the head-to-head. Same with Hosking though. And yeah, that's probably the big one. At the fullback slot, Rocco Berry actually scoring fairly well. Roger had a good week as well. So those two guys, yeah, if you got them holding on, I don't think you buy. Metcalf just won't score high enough. I don't think he'll get some attack, but just won't score high enough. Johnson, you clearly hold and hope that he kicks again. And then Tohu Harris, you're holding steady as well. And Fanua Blake, same thing. That's the second game of the week. Let's move to the other big news of the week, and that's the Roosters up against the Bunnies. So we'll go Bunny side first, and we do see Jack Whiten returning in the centre spot. Tane Milne keeps his wing spot, and we do lose Richie Kenner in this one. So Tass is the other centre. Exactly what we thought was going to happen on this one there. Dean Hawkins comes in for Lockie Ilias after getting the sack this week, unfortunately. So he is an awkward price. I think, you look at his stats there. We'll go through him in the buy, hold, sell anyway, but he doesn't have many kick meters in his NRL starts. It's all at 5'8", next to Ilias mainly. So he will demand a few more kick meters and probably score a bit better. But up against a pretty tough opponent to kick things off, I think that you can hold off on slotting him in your sides, in my opinion, to start off with. Totola, you could definitely hold. We do lose Shaq Mitchell in this one. Host comes in straight for him and goes onto the edge. Don't look at Host as an option, guys. He could easily lose his spot to Jai Arrow, and he will when he comes back. And he won't make enough money in the meantime. Great to see Murray back in the 13 role. And then you've got plenty of middles on the interchange bench with really potentially, I think Murray will move to the edge for that 20 or so minutes again, like he was in round one. And hopefully we just see him for obviously plenty of time in that middle, doing good things, that's for sure. All right, let's, it's probably not too much else to say on the buns. Totola can hold or sell, no problem. But I think at this point, when you've got Wong, who has missed this side altogether, then he's probably a sell over Totola. Anyway, let's finish off this game with the Roosters. And Teddy, obviously a clear, good, strong fullback option in our sides. Manu, a tough one last week. He'll need to improve on that. I think he will against this. Well, I suppose defensively, he's going to have Jack White now, which is a little bit different for him. Sandon Smith comes in at 6 for Keary. So, Sammy will obviously get them around, but Sandon, we know he played pretty well last year as well. If we do hear anything about Keary being an extended timeout, then we'll look at Sandon, but until then, we'll leave him. Brandon Smith in the 9. How many extra minutes does he get with Connor Watson? That's going to be the question. So he's on the bench now. Terrell named on the bench again like last week. So, could move into the starting side again. Who knows? But he was really helpful in round 1 for them, playing that second 40 minutes instead of the first 40. So they gave that a try last week, and they may just play him in the second 40 instead of that first in this one. So not worried about his minutes at all, especially when they've got a bit of a different bench in here. So they had Nat Butcher coming on and playing big minutes. That won't happen from any of these interchange forwards. So Satili, you'd still expect somewhere around that 60 mark, I believe, with Crichton coming on, playing some middle, playing some edge as well. Nat Butcher probably goes back to 80. And after playing some lesser minutes, he'll lose a little bit of cash for the next few weeks. Brandon, hold steady. I think he'll be fine. The Fahu White had a good little stint last week as well. So Angus Crichton moving back into the side, obviously off the bench. We're not looking at him as an option. Billy Smith's in the reserve, so look for him to come back in the next few weeks. And then Wong. What do we do with Wong? It's obviously not nice. People were looking at selling Satili, and he's the one that starts. Wong they might both be sells now. As I said, you could use Wong as potentially a looper in your side this week, and if there is an injury to one of Satili or Nat, he could come back into that side, in that starting side, or at least on the bench, and start making us money again. I do understand, though, if you would be looking to sell him. So, what a mistake that was in the head-to-head side, getting Wong in, hey? Things change so quickly in this landscape, in this game, and that is one of the things that has definitely changed. So, a few changes on both sides, that's for sure. Let's go to the Doggies and the Titans. So they don't change anything in their back 7 at all, surprisingly. So there was a little bit of talk that Josh Addo-Carr would be back this week, and that is incorrect news. Thing that changes for them is Liam Knight comes straight in for Farmasili into the starting side. I wonder if that changes at all. You've got Kurt Mann, Sam Hughes, Curran, and Moran on the interchange bench. Josh Curran's still a decent buy coming into this week. I still think that minutes will be available, even if it is a couple less, somewhere in the mid-50s. And we know that's enough for him to average somewhere in the 45 range. I'm personally going to be holding guys like Jamin Salmon, like Drew Hutchison, hoping that Karaz can have a bit of a bounce back week against the Titans here in this one. Moving to the Titans, Keanu Keeney keeps his spot, and we don't see David Fafita in the reserves either. So, 2 guys that we thought we would be getting back in probably round 4 or 5. So that's definitely going along with exactly what we might have thought here. And Keeney, very, very interesting player for our sides now. He won't be used as a looper this week because he's playing. And I suppose he's one of those guys that if the Titans actually come out and play well, he can have a good score. And that's exactly what I thought coming into round 1. That wasn't to be. They got smashed. So if this is a fairly close game, he could have a good outing here, and let's just hope that all the players in this game that I own can do well, because I think most people will own them as well, apart from the current I don't. That's probably it, hey. And then it's like if anyone has Tanner Boyd, I think he can have a really good game, and it's definitely an option in the half and the hooking position as covered this week. But for more, I think you need him to lower his price a bit more. Khalees Haas gets another week. For anyone who started with him, happy days. And Foran's back. So if it's Foran, it should be on the side of Fermor. He could look to get a try this week, which would be nice for my Supercoach side. All right. It's probably enough on those two sides. I think you give those dogs another chance and see what happens this week and make your decisions from there, because they look pretty good in that first round, that first half of that matchup against the Sharks, who are a good team. Dragons up against the Cows. So nothing changes for their back seven, the Dragons there. And you do see a change here with Jesse Marschke comes in and starts with Mullisen on the bench there. And we don't see our boy Jacob Little. So that's an interesting one. It just says he's sidelined at the moment. He's going to debut at hooker in place of... concussion. Oh, wow. I didn't actually notice that. I thought Didn't he come back on? Maybe he had some symptoms through the week. So that's not nice for Little, but it will be 1 week, it looks like, for him. He'll be missing, so don't look at Marschke and, or Mullisen in this one. Viliami Fifita comes back onto the bench as well. So they do lose Francis Molo for this one as well, I should say. Francis Molo, suspended for this week. So Luciano Leilua and Jack DeBella move into the starting side. Raymond Faitala-Marinas maintains his spot on the interchange, which I think he will this week. He got promoted to the starting side, but with Luciano now in there with Jaden Sewer. Really, apart from Jacob Little, this seems like a really settled side now. Eisenhuth in that starting 13, but the worry with Eisenhuth, guys, is the minutes that he is going to be able to get because of the guys that they have, especially Raymond or Luciano there could come in and play some middle as well. If Raymond comes on the edge, that's likely how this plays out. I do think he gives Sully another crack. I'm worried about Flanagan and his ability to score some decent points to make some money. So I understand if you're looking to sell him. I think Sully, there's too many issues in our sides to worry about removing him. So he's a hold. For the Cowboys side of things, really the only big change here is Fine Firiaki Kulakefu there ends up in the starting side, which is great for anyone looking to get him. It's going to be hard with the guys that have been left out of the side, or the Hoskings, Wongs, we got Lukey's. It's really hard to just go double cheapy, but it is an option. You've got Kulakefu and Lockie Galvin, who we'll get to in a sec as well, if you haven't gone past already, who are options this week, but there's also some options in the mid-range as well. And then if you want to go up to the Fogartys and these types of players, that would be great as well. I don't really see any options currently in their back seven. Robson's doing really well, and he's great, a great hooker to own. If you own Grant as well, could be a really good cover for next week. So is Joey Lussick, which we'll get to in a sec. But Cotter, this bench looks pretty good for him. You imagine Finne and Goz share that 80 minutes, something like that, 55-25, 60-20, something like that. We'll speak about Finne in the buy, hold, sell as well, and go into him in a little bit of a deeper dive to the numbers. It's not great reading, but he is a young player improving. So PPM-wise, definitely some room for improvement, but it is scary to jump into another left edge for the Cowboys after owning one and going through that pain again. But we did see at points last year we didn't have a very good PPM at all in minutes that we expect him to get here. So we'll see what happens in that one. Guys like, they're interchange, not really of any relevance. We don't see Tom McKaylee. And the reason we don't, because it wasn't a middle, it was an edge that went down. So that's why you see Jack Gosiewski in there. All right, we do have the Tigers, and it does seem like Jaden Sullivan was hooked, and he's going to be the 14 instead of Aiden Caesar. In this one, I do think he's going to be a better 14 than what Caesar's going to provide, because he can come on, he can play some 9, he can just wreak havoc with his running game, right? But as a long-term defensive set, like 6, I'm unsure, and that's probably why he ends up in that 14 role. Alex Seyfarth does move to the bench as well. Samuela Fainu ends up keeping that bench spot, and in the start, everything else is the same apart from Fonua Bole, ends up in the start as well. So he's not an option. You do see Fa'ad Ta'ape in the centers as well, so he keeps that spot. That's because we lose Stafford Toa there for a 6-week injury. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to score super well. He might have a game where he does, but longer term, he could be a 40-odd, and then he'll go like a 10 and ruin any money making. So avoid Solomona right now. Lockie Galvin is the guy to target in this one for sure. Good defense, runs the ball hard. And I think he'll obviously get a little bit of kicking as well in this one, and hopefully some attacking stats at some point. And which side's he going to end up playing? Left-hand side? Unsure. With Caesar. Which way? Yeah. Tell me in the comments, guys. Which one did they play on the weekend? I can't remember. Anywho, Happy Coruscant needs attacking stats. Will he get it against the Sharks? I'm not sure, but he got it last week and did really well. But I am worried if he doesn't get attacked. We know it's exactly the same as last year. If they're not scoring too many tries, he won't get those goal kicks. But can he score tries on a weekly basis or set them up? For the Sharkies, we do see Jack Williams move into the edge, or onto the edge there. Cam McInnes stays at 13. That was expected. It was either going to be like Jack Williams or Billy Burns. They do have Royce Hunt returning on the interchange. If he is not right to go, then Tuku could come in and play again for sure. McInnes, I am expecting a few extra minutes in this one because Williams is the guy that was kind of taking a few. But Billy Burns could come on and play some decent minutes through the edge position as well. We'll have to just see how that one plays out. But I am expecting sort of a 50-odd from McInnes, with Nikora being out and Jack Williams not being at 80 edge. At least sort of 7 or 8 minutes extra for McInnes, and probably a 50-odd score in this week is my prediction. So if you probably worked out pretty well in the end that there are issues in other areas for your teams, guys, so that you can keep McInnes in your team, because I do think you'll have a pretty good week in this one. All right, 2 games to go. We have the Eels up against the Manly Seagulls, and Blaze, I love saying the word Blaze, Teaser, it just reminds me of dodgeball, Talangi in the centres, so awesome for him. Again, how long is this going to be with Sivo potentially coming back, like Morgan Harper, obviously Simonson as well, 2 guys there, so I think that he would be a trap if you decide to pick him up. Penasini's the guy in that back line you will look at. Mitch Moses, a good option this week. I think he could wait 1 more week at least, but obviously he has lost some price and will continue to go down unless he hits a 60 or a 70 this week. Joey Lussick, we now have Luca Moretti in the interchange spot. So while we're here, guys, just want to get Luca up on the screen just so you can check him out and the position. So he is very clearly a middle, playing off the interchange, very limited minutes on that. So they love carrying lots of middles in their side, and for those that weren't sure, that is where he is at, and we won't be picking him outside. And I think it's great news for Joey Lussick that Brendan Hands is off the reserves, and it's exactly what we thought would happen given the issues that they had on their left-hand edge defensive line, with Kelma Tuolangi having to go out and play centre. The other thing to note actually here is that Kelma looked like and from what I've been told, it's going to be like a month injury. And now he's been named on the interchange, so that is pretty interesting. Also, on the other side of the ball for the Eagles, Tommy Talau's been named on their interchanges, on their reserves. So, is it as bad as we first thought? Maybe not. So he's not named to play. So it's obviously bad enough for a minimum week. But yeah, I don't know. Do they just not have people to name on the reserves? I know that at times that can happen, but for that to happen now, I feel like that'd be weird. But anyway. So yeah, Eels, good news for Joey. Guys like Hopgood, I still think that this is a nice bench for him. We'll see what happens with the Kelma situation. And that's probably all to note from the Eels. For the Manly side, Vega comes in on the wing. Don't pick him up. Avoid that one. Tommy Turbo, still a great purchase this week. You obviously got out of it lightly like myself if you didn't own him. So that's cool if you do need a wing fullback, or maybe we can wait till next week when Pap's out if that's the way you need to play it. DC, I'm very concerned on. If you have him, I think that he's closer to a sell, given that Luke Brooks is demanding a lot of the ball and a lot of the attention. So with that sharing, and it used to be mainly on daily, I think you can sell him now and get him back at a cheaper price later, and we'll see what happens. Ben Trbojevic keeps his spot, which is good news. Keep looking to play him, I think. If you can loop between him and maybe an Ethan Strange this week, then that's going to be cool. But yeah, we'll see what happens on that one. Most likely you'll have Seb Chris there in the centre, so it'd be hard to you can't actually loop that because they're both in the same game. All right, last one. Knights up against the Storm. So let's go to the Knights side, and we do see Inari Tawala back with Greg Marzu. It sounds like he's going to be out for close to a month, unfortunately. There's a lot of changes in this side. It does say, on a fractured scaphoid. There you go. 4 to 6 weeks. That's not good. So Hanari comes back and fills that void, which is good. Tyson Gamble and Jack Cogger. So we lose Jackson Hastings in this one. So I didn't think that he was the issue, but maybe that's just the way that that's obviously the way that they've decided to go, and fair play. That's that. Kai Pearce-Paul keeps his spot at 12, and we see Dylan Lucas on the reserve. So this is a weird one and a slightly annoying one if you were looking at Kai Pearce-Paul, like I've got him in Supercoach. It's just that with it being the last game of the round, if Lucas was to make a switcheroo and you're looking to play him, it might be worth not. But I suppose if you do own him, that's good for, and he does start, that's good for some money making anyway, which is always great. And Jaden Brayley in the 14 role. So welcome back to Jaden. It's been a long time off for him. It's been a long time. And can't wait to see him get out there and free the arms, that's for sure. But yeah, very excited, as I said, to see him back on the park. Lots of changes in the Knights. Can they come out and beat an understrength Storm side who are missing both Munster and Jerome Hughes? So it would be very interesting to see how Jonah Pezzett can run them around and Tyron Wishart help them out on his side of the field as well. I do expect a pretty big game from Harry Grant. He's going to have to step up along with Pat. Hopefully that the forwards can lay a good platform for him and they can come out and do good things. So interesting to note here as well, guys, with Sean Bloor in the reserve still, that Kane Bradley has won the 14 role, given he can cover in the forwards, in the outside backs as well. So that makes a lot of sense. And Joe Chan keeps his 11 role, so the edge role, which is awesome. And hopefully, most likely, he will keep that spot and you can play him if you need to. If you want to, you could loop someone else if you have that opportunity and use him as a last switch in. If the loop doesn't work or something like that, that could be the play as well. But do expect somewhere in the 30s for him, I would imagine. He's up against Tyson Frizzell, though, so it could be a tough one. Tyson Frizzell and Dane Gagai, actually. So, yeah, maybe Joe, if you can avoid this week, might be the play, given he should be missing a few tackles there for sure. So that's the team list, guys. Just want to give you a reminder just to, again, not try to panic on a few of these trades. Like, most likely you have 2 or 3 issues that you need to fix up. Obviously, a Lukey injury as well doesn't help. But the couple of trades is great. I would want 3 personally, but the couple is going to work and help you out. And you obviously might be playing someone in your 17 that you're not super excited about, but just make sure that you don't stuff up the makeup of your side, the balance that you have with it, and just get things right. Get the correct cash cows this week. Trade out the correct guys, and then go along with our buy, hold, sells and everything and we can get through the information over the next couple of days before we have to make our final decisions on Thursday. So thanks for being here for this one, guys. I know it's a bit longer, but I want to keep it calm, be direct with you guys, and help you out as much as possible. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you